Welcome to our keynote, Cloud CAD and Mobile CAD. What is the digital transformation really improving? My name is Cedric Desbordes, and I would like to introduce you the two other speakers joining me today. Anthony Forster-Robledo is an architect based in Boston, associate principal at Morehouse McDonald and Associates. And he's also joining us today because he's the founder and editor-in-chief of Architosh, one of the leading websites for tech news in construction. Anthony, we are very happy to have you today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And Luis Felipe Ungueirt is also an architect and urban planner based in Brazil. He recently joined Graebert, but keeps working in parallel as a professor at the university, where he is teaching CAD to the next generation. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So now let's move on to our presentation, and then we will continue after with our discussion with our guest speaker, Anthony. Today, our presentation will fall into 4 parts, including our discussion at the end with our guest speaker, Anthony. To begin with, let's start with an introduction to our Trinity concept. More than a suite of 3 products, the ARES Trinity is an ecosystem leveraging modern cloud and mobile technologies to improve collaboration. ARES Commander is our flagship product. It is a 2D and 3D CAD software running on Windows, Mac, and Linux computers. This version is also the one offering an easy switch for the CAD users familiar with AutoCAD or similar programs. Compared to ARES Kudo and ARES Touch, it is the most powerful version. It includes also some exclusive features such as our beam drawings. Today, our presentation is focused on cloud and mobile technologies. But if you want to learn more about our CAD features and how they compare with AutoCAD, I warmly recommend to watch these 3 videos that you can find in our YouTube channel. ARES Kudo is our cloud version. Nothing to install, nothing to update. It runs directly in your internet browser. ARES Kudo is the most advanced solution available in the market for online CAD in DWG format. ARES Kudo offers a full set of 2D features. This includes, first of all the dimensioning tools and the dimension palette that helps to customize your dimensions. Most frequently used commands are in the menu and toolbar on the left. And if you know a command by name, you can enter it in the command bar. The names are the same. Here is an example with the mirror command. ARES Kudo is also supporting design aids like entity snaps and tracking. You can also do a right-click to call the contextual menu. Advanced features such as blocks insertion and hatches are also supported. We can see now an example with the pattern command, also known as array in AutoCAD. In ARES Kudo, the dialogues are reorganized in side palettes to adapt to the configuration of your internet browser. In the bottom left, you can switch between the model space and different layouts created. You can also configure new sheets and viewports. Finally, ARES Kudo is also able to export and print to PDF. You can choose to export a specific sheet or create a PDF with multiple sheets. ARES Touch is our mobile CAD solution for Android and iOS. ARES Touch has also no equivalent on the market. It is the only solution offering a full set of 2D CAD features for smartphones and tablets. Most frequently used commands are grouped in the side toolbar by topic, but ARES Touch offers more than 150 commands and they are not all in the toolbar. To search a command by name, you can tap on the play icon and enter the first letters. Among other features, I would like to show the possibility to insert blocks, which is typically useful for on-site surveys. In this example, we want to insert some furniture to organize this space. The key advantage with a mobile device is to be able to do this on-site. One more example with on-site modifications. It could be that while visiting this office, you want to move around some elements. With the quick modify command, you can combine successive operations, such as copy, move, rotate, and scale. But even with a full set of 2D CAD features, the goal of ARES Touch is not to replace ARES Commander or AutoCAD. Mobile CAD is more than CAD on the mobile. And Cloud CAD is more than offering the same features in an internet browser. The true advantage of our Trinity concept is to use cloud and mobile to improve collaboration. Instead of replacing each other, the three platforms are helping each other, leveraging the best of what each platform has to offer. So what is cloud and mobile really improving? This is what we are going to see now with 7 features that can make all the difference. I hear frequently people tell me that they don't need cloud or mobile. This is because they are used to work on their computer and think that cloud is only the same features in a browser. But they are changing their mind because now with the lockdowns, people have deeply experienced the problems we are solving. Cloud is not changing the features, it is improving the workflows to work more efficiently. To begin with, using cloud, you can synchronize the files. This means that all the users work always on the latest version. It no longer matters if people work from home, at the office, or anywhere else. The project is always up to date for all the users. In ARES Commander, you keep the flexibility to work with local files or files in the cloud. But using files in the cloud is required for synchronization and all the Trinity features we will see after. Besides synchronizing files among all the users, the synchronization is also ensuring the continuity of your work on all your devices. You can start working on the computer at the office, continue at home, and open later the drawing on your smartphone. The drawing is always up to date. If you don't have any cloud storage provider yet, we are offering the ARES Kudo Drive with some free storage. The ARES Kudo Drive makes it easy for you to explore the Trinity features. You will find their sample drawings and the capacity to upload some of your own drawings. Most essentially, we want to connect to the solutions you decided to use. ARES offers support for Google Drive, OneDrive, OneDrive for Business, Box, Dropbox, and many more services. This includes also the possibility to use a private cloud storage or your own servers that you would connect with the WebDAV protocol or solutions like neXt. Some companies are hesitating to use files in the cloud because they are afraid it is not safe. I say it is actually much safer. When your files are on a hard disk or circulated by email, you can hardly control how people will copy or share with other people. In turn, when files are in the cloud, you always have the list of who has access and can revoke rights at any time. In ARES Kudo, we can use the permissions dialog to see the list of users. We can not only invite users, but also change their rights. We can, for example, decide that today a user can edit and revoke access the next day. In ARES Commander, you can use the Cloud Storage palette to access the Sharing Options dialog. In our example, we have used a file in the ARES Kudo Drive, but it would be the same for other storages. From here, we can manage the user permissions. Another unique feature enabled by the cloud is the possibility to receive email notifications when your project is modified. With email notifications, you keep track of the changes made on your drawings. You see who has modified and when. You see also the comments, picture markups, and voice recordings added by other users. With all these elements, you can follow the project and react promptly when required. Email notifications are also very easy to read on your smartphone. It makes it easy to keep an eye on your project when you are on the go. Let's move on to our next topic. By default, cloud storage providers are not preventing 2 or more users to work on the same file. But if 2 users are making modifications at the same time, it will result in conflicting versions. The session handling in ARES is preventing that. When you try to open a file that is already in use, ARES will display a message. This message tells you who is currently editing. Even if you cannot modify, you will be granted a viewing access and will also be able to read or create comments and markups. The same is true if you open the drawing in our cloud version ARES Kudo. Speaking of comments and markups, let's dive deeper into this topic. Comments and markups represent a collaboration thread that is not modifying the drawing. The comments can be linked to a selection of entities to help understand the context, but you can also make comments without linking entities. Comments and markups can be answered and marked as resolved. The filter helps you to show or hide what makes sense for you. If you don't feel like writing a long text, you can also record your voice and insert it as a voice recording markup. Likewise, you can share picture markups to share photos or other types of images and link them to a specific area of your project. Finally, stamps can be used to mark up with some ready-made text like for review, and you can create your own ones. In ARES Touch, the comments and markups are also very important to share information with the rest of the team. With these tools, the users on the field can follow the project and share feedback that will contribute to improve the project. They can also highlight some issues that need to be addressed. In ARES Commander, the design team will see all these comments and markups in the commenting palette. They can take this feedback and use it to improve the drawings. They can also reply or create other comments and markups to help the other users. Voice recordings are in particular very interesting for ARES Touch users. They see something to report on the field, but they don't have any keyboard to type any long message, so recording their voice is much easier. Likewise, it is very convenient to take photos with a smartphone. Using picture markups make it easy to share them with other users without waiting to return to the office. Photos taken on site can significantly help the design team to react promptly to any technical issue. When multiple users are working on the same file, and sometimes multiple companies, it can become challenging to keep track of who made each modification. With the version history, you can see who modified and when, but also what have been the changes. In ARES Commander, you can open the version history palette. Here you can read the history of the drawing and who saved each modification. In this example, we see that another user has been making changes after the first one. To understand these modifications, the first user could compare his latest version with the current one. Just like with Drawing Compare, the differences will be highlighted in color. If the user disagrees with these changes, he can also come back to his version by promoting it. Likewise, in ARES Kudo, we can see the version history of our drawing. Now let's imagine I received a new version by email from a non-ARES user. I can upload it, and it will be promoted as the current version, the one that all the other ARES users will be using. Next, I could open it and keep working with this version. But if I change my mind, I can come back to the previous version by selecting it and clicking on the Promote button. The version I uploaded will stay as a version. Otherwise, I can also decide to delete it. Last but not least, I would like to talk about the view-only links. From my experience, this is by far the most popular feature. View-only links are URLs that you can create to share free viewing access with colleagues or customers. Using this URL, your contacts can easily share feedback and validate your drawings. To use a view-only link, your contacts will only need an internet browser. It is even better than a PDF because there is nothing to install. Besides, this link is always up to date. If you make any modification, your contacts will always have the latest version. It is also better because you can cut access at any time. View-only links work also for 3D drawings. Your contacts can easily select different viewpoints to get, for example, a top view. Alternatively, they can use the 3D orbit. The mouse can also be used for zoom and pan. But if your contacts don't have a mouse with scroll button, they can use the zoom from the toolbar. The toolbar also includes measuring tools. When you create a view-only link, you can decide if your contact can export your drawing to PDF. It could be, for example, that you prefer that your contact can only view the drawing online, where it is always updated. In the permission dialog, you can turn this option on and off. In the same dialog, you can disable access or define an expiry date. Using view-only links, your customers and colleagues can also create a free Graebert account. After logging in, they will access the commenting and markup features. This way, they can not only view, but also comment for free. Using comments and markups is a great way to collect feedback and validation from your contacts. This feedback will show up inside ARES and inside the email notifications to help you react promptly. To conclude our presentation, let's take a look at the bigger picture and how these new technologies can help you to extend your design team to new categories of users. Indeed, the main advantage of our Trinity concept is to extend the design team to the technical colleagues, managers, and collaborators. Using ARES Kudo is very convenient for the users that are frequently out of the office. It is, for example, a perfect fit for team leaders or technical experts who are only occasionally modifying the drawings. They can access the drawings anywhere and be sure they get live updates from the office. ARES Touch has the advantage to work both offline and online, so you can keep working when there is no internet and synchronize your changes after. The user interface is optimized for small screens and touch input. It makes it easy to follow your projects on your smartphone or tablet. So using ARES, you can consider a first group of users working with the Trinity license. These are the CAD users heavily producing drawings. You can extend to a second group of users that will mostly use ARES Kudo and/or ARES Touch to use, modify, and share feedback on the drawings created by the first group. And with the view-only links, you can further extend to colleagues and customers that will view and comment for free. This is the true revolution that Cloud CAD and Mobile CAD are empowering. The cherry on the cake is that ARES is 6 to 9 times less expensive than AutoCAD and offers choice between annual, perpetual, and network licenses. Trinity licenses include ARES Commander, ARES Kudo, and ARES Touch. For perpetual licenses, Trinity is a yearly subscription. Alternatively, you can buy term licenses of 1 or 3 years. And we are introducing the Flex Cloud licenses to share ARES Trinity licenses among a group of users. For the extended design team, I would recommend the new mobility pack that combines ARES Kudo and ARES Touch. Alternatively, ARES Kudo can be purchased alone. The price is very attractive if you only need online CAD. ARES Touch can also be purchased standalone, but directly from the app stores. For large deployments, we also have an enterprise version of ARES Touch that can be customized. That's all for our quick tour. If it went a bit too fast and you want to dive deeper into the details, I recommend to watch these 3 videos that you will find in YouTube. I also encourage you to visit Graebert.com to learn more and download our free 30-day trial. If you have questions, please feel free to send them to next@graebert.com. So welcome back, Anthony and Luis. Now it's time to move on to our discussion, and let me shoot the first question to Anthony. So Anthony, you recently wrote a very detailed article in Architage, which title is ARES the next AutoCAD? And well, let me ask, if you had to pick only a couple of features, what would you say is the most exciting?
That's a great question, and honestly, the robust markup features and even the version history are all very compelling. I think the true session handling coupled with the versioning and robust market are probably the standout features that I recognize because they solve so many issues that AEC professionals and other CAD professionals confront on a daily basis. I think a big thing that needs to be recognized here is that the way collaboration works in the industry today, or predominant way it works, is through exporting PDFs and passing them around. People pass them around through email, and they pass them through BIM systems and also through CDE systems. The thing about your features in ARES Trinity is that you have a system for robust markup that doesn't force you to export PDFs in order to do collaboration. You still have the option, the full option to export PDFs, including with your markups, but you are not required to do that. You can actually eliminate steps and eliminate the hassle of round-tripping PDF files between field and office and field. I also think that the email notifications are really critical because regardless of how people feel about their inbox getting overloaded, email is still the predominant way in which professionals tend to communicate with each other. and the email notifications add so much value to this process of collaboration.
Yeah, thank you. Well, just to say some words about PDF, it's true that if I take the example of our mobile CAD, there are some of our largest customers have been using ARES Touch, and before they were using PDF. The difference they can see clearly is that when first of all is the live updates, the fact that drawings are always live updated. The second thing is that on the PDF, you cannot measure, you cannot take distances and angles, while on the DWG, even on the free view on the links, you can measure all what you can see on screen, because all the vectors and entities are inside, and you have the corresponding tools to do so. Mm-hmm. So it's true that compared to PDF, there is a big improvement, but probably the biggest improvement is that when we use, for example, view-only links instead of PDF, is that the file is always live updated. While when you use a PDF, you send a file and you keep sending again and again, because each time you make a modification, you need to publish again. And then people lose track of what is the current version. It can lead to mistakes. So yes, PDF has been very popular, but fortunately with cloud, we can go much further now. So maybe now I would like to switch to Luis. And I asked Luis to join us today because besides being an architect and urban planner, he is a professor teaching CAD at the university, and he has been using ARES Kudo to teach during and after lockdowns.
Right, Cedric, thank you. Before COVID, I used to teach in a lab with AutoCAD installed on each PC. The lockdowns obviously forced all of us to rethink our practices. One obvious problem was that we no longer could use our labs, but a potentially bigger problem was that many students simply didn't have a strong enough computer to work from home, or didn't have one computer at all. They were using a computer from a friend's house, a neighbor's, or places where they can rent a computer by the hour. So I was in the hunt for a full-feature AutoCAD CAD software that could run over the cloud with no download or installation needed, and that could deliver all the tools needed for 2D DWG drawing. After trying several options, ARES Kudo was the perfect fit. Kudo had all the tools I was using to teach in the lab, allowing for seamless transitions for students that had already experienced AutoCAD in the past, and running on almost any computer with internet access. This year, we can teach in the lab again, but I keep using ARES Kudo. For the assignment, I asked the student to send me view-only links of the WG files. With that link, I can open their work directly on a web browser, measure, make comments in the drawing, and even provide feedback with voice markups. No more need to download multiple DWG files from 50+ students and download it all again when there are changes on the files. So it actually changed deeply the way I'm teaching now.
Thank you. Anthony, do you want to make any comment?
Yeah, I do. First of all, downloading 50 CAD files does not sound like a fun endeavor at all as a teacher. So I think you've chosen wisely to eliminate that process. And you're right, Luis and Cedric, you said it at the end of the last comment. With Kudo, you have the ability to actually measure and take accurate CAD level measurements inside of it. You can't do that with a PDF. PDF tools require you to do calibration first. And I know that some professors are using PDF systems to collect students' work and to provide feedback, but I think what you gain with Kudo is so much more because you have basically a true CAD system that you're working with. I think what you're really talking about too is that the pandemic exposed weaknesses and strengths in different CAD technologies out there, and firms had to adjust when everyone had to work remotely. ARES gives firms and individuals, high adaptive capacity so they can robustly respond to any situation. They are able to move to different platforms. People would have to go home to work during the pandemic, or stay home to work during the pandemic, and they may not have the computer systems that they had at work, but they have options. You can log in with on different platforms, Linux, Mac, Windows, or you can use ARES Kudo from a web browser. I think it turns out that the markup and voice note features too also played a key role for you as an educator.
Right.
Very good. So, Anthony, in Architosh, you started and concluded your article, is ARES the next AutoCAD, with the cost and licensing aspects. In the last few days, the price of AutoCAD has increased again, and now we can say that ARES is 6 to 9 times less expensive than AutoCAD. Nobody will argue that this is a strong motivation to switch, but in your article, you were going further, I think, and explaining that there is a momentum to explore new technologies and reconsider IT budgets.
Right. And the article I was talking about two things. One is that budgets are not infinite, and scarce resources have alternative uses. One alternative use is to use those budgets to apply them to tapping into newer technologies, things like generative design, real-time rendering systems, VR and AR systems. These are some of the hotter new technologies out there that firms that are on the avant-garde kind of are working with. They're exploring these systems to benefit their clients and their workflows and to add value to their services. But those systems, regardless of whether they're hardware or software or both, they do cost money. So where I was going in the article was to talk about how firms can lower their DDOG costs through ARES by moving to this platform and redeploy those budget resources to some of these emerging technologies that will accelerate their workflow. Another way you can accelerate your workflow is to redeploy some of these resources to faster hardware, faster replace hardware cycles if you're on a lease, and just faster internet speeds. All these things have compound effects that can boost overall firm productivity.
Yeah, true. We can see that also with our customers. For example, in Japan, 3 of the top 5 construction groups use our products, but at the same time, they are doing it because the budgets they are saving on 2D CAD with DWG using ARES can be reinvested in new technologies such as BIM, for example. So these customers have thousands of users, and obviously the difference of price is very important for them. The consequence is that they can invest, as I said, in new technologies, but also at the same time they can also deploy to more users. Typically, I was showing these concentric circles of users, and I have one example in mind of one customer that used to have 1,000 AutoCAD licenses for the users creating the drawings. But they have also 7,000 more technical colleagues that were using the drawings. So the new situation is that now they have deployed ARES Commander and the Trinity to the 1,000 users that used to have AutoCAD. And with the money they have saved here, they have been also able to deploy to the 7,000 more technical colleagues iPads and ARES Touch on it so they have more than 4,000 iPads, I think more than 5,000 now. So at the end, the final result is that they have a much better collaboration because they have improved the situation for the users that were creating drawings and also improved for the users using the drawings.
Right.
So we are a bit committed by time here, and so, unfortunately we could continue this discussion for long, but we have to close. So I would like to thank you both for joining us today. Many thanks to you, Anthony, for being our guest speaker, and many thanks to you, Luis. This is going to be in replay, and also so you can watch again. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to send us to next@graebert.com. Thank you for watching us today.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.